So we had a recent video that came out that concerned itself with June pumps, altcoins that we're on the lookout for this month in particular. Make sure you watch that one if you haven't already. We talked a little bit about that as a warning in terms of upcoming token unlocks that are happening. Pretty much as always, these lead to market volatility. So in reference to those altcoins, check out that video. Now, we want to highlight some other things that should be on your calendar, that ought to be on your radar, because while June can be a pretty good month for crypto, generally speaking, the fact of the matter is, and I think we all ought to be aware, that some altcoins may face volatility. And that's because we have $2.7 billion worth of token unlocks when it comes to specific projects happening in June. We can expect as much as $369 million in just the first week of June alone. So if you're at all a serious investor, I just want to make sure that you're aware of these projects. We're going to go through them. We're going to talk about the details and the ramifications. Welcome to the channel. My name is Maddie and this is Altcoin Buzz. All the best of luck if you choose to invest. I genuinely wish you well. Just remember that I am not a financial or investment advisor, which means by extension that this video is not official financial or investment advice. Let's kick off here at number one with Taiko. That's T-A-I-K-O. This is the first token unlock that I want to cover for June. It's a cliff unlock, and not the biggest one in terms of dollars, but with around $4.7 million, it comes in as a pretty good second biggest cliff unlock this month in June. What makes this unlock remarkable, however, or more notable at least, is that it represents, get this, 69.37% of the circulating supply. So again, not the biggest in terms of dollars that we're covering, but over 69% of the supply. This absolutely pretty much almost guarantees price volatility. And this is happening soon in just a few days on the 5th of June. And I would say as a bit of an editorial here that we have a project that represents a clear example of why dollar numbers, dollar figures are not always the most important metric, because here we have a situation that really emphasizes that the percentage number here, again, over 69%, can be much, much more influential in terms of volatility. If you take a look at this cliff here as shown in the image, you can see that it's pretty massive. And we can see here, it's no surprise that people are already starting to sell off in anticipation of that unlock that's happening on the 5th. If you hold Taiko, you may want to consider selling before June 5th. If you're a really strong believer in Taiko, which is fine, you may want to consider buying back after the 5th. But this is about as big as it gets. Over 69% of the circulating supply is unlocking in just a few days' time. At number two, we're looking at Ethena, ticker ENA, and Sui Network, ticker SUI. It was actually today that Ethena unlocked 40.63 million ENA tokens, or about $12 million worth. And then also on the 5th of June, the same date that Taiko unlocks, we have another 171.88 million ENA unlocking. That's going to be worth about $53 million. That means that in the first week of June, Ethena unlocks $65 million. That is the biggest cliff unlock this week in terms of dollars by quite a bit. Percentage-wise, it's not all that much. It's under 3% of the circulating supply. So that's in pretty stark contrast to Taiko. You can therefore reasonably expect much less volatility for ENA as a result. Nonetheless, this unlock is for core contributors and investors, so you can expect sell-offs. We anticipate that to be the most likely outcome. But Ethena is also currently in the spotlight. And so as a result, as a project, it may have a little bit of an easier time. This unlock kind of may get absorbed and they may have a little bit of an easier time here. Sui Network, token SUI, that's the leader for this month with a 44 million SUI unlock. That's only 1.3% of the circulating supply, but it's going to be worth about $143 million. At least it was yesterday on the 1st of June. Currently, Sui has only unlocked 34% of its tokens, so there are a few more monthly unlocks coming our way. Until May 2026, we're going to keep getting these monthly unlocks, and then after that, they're going to reduce in size until the year 2030. Sui's doing pretty well, though, in terms of price, and the unlocks so far haven't had a big effect on the price of SUI. I want to cover now a little bit rapid fire some of the other big Cliff token unlocks for June 2025, beginning with Layer 0, ticker ZRO. This unlocks 25.7 million ZRO on the 20th of June, so in about 2.5 weeks or so. That's going to be worth $59 million at the current price of ZRO. However, this is another big chunk here, 23%, 23.13% precisely of the circulating supply. So that's another one where we can expect some volatility. Currently, Layer 0 unlocked 25% of their tokens, and their vesting ends in September 2027. Aptos is another one here. The project is unlocking 11.31 million APT tokens on the 12th of June. That's worth over $54 million. Just keep in mind here that Aptos does have an infinite token supply. Not tokenomics that I'm a fan of personally, but there you have it. That's something to consider when you're crunching the numbers for this kind of stuff. Fast Token is unlocking 20 million FTN tokens on the 18th of June. That is worth $88.6 million. However, the good news here is that they've already unlocked 90% of their tokens. Also, if you look at this chart here, FTN has only been going up since their token generation event. This has got to be one of the best looking charts in cryptocurrency. It goes all the way back to spring of last year. So not too bad. This is certainly a unicorn in the space. Very impressive. And for context, their vesting ends on the 1st of January, 2026. Next up here is ZK Sync, ticker ZK, who are unlocking 768.52 million ZK tokens on the 17th of June. That is no less than $41 million and nearly 21% of the circulating supply. Again, that's a lot. That's a big chunk, so I do expect volatility here. Arbitrum is unlocking 92.65 million ARB tokens. That's on the 16th of June. That's going to be worth about $31.5 million and is equivalent to 1.91% of the circulating supply. And finally, in this category, we have Optimism, or OP, another Ethereum L2. They are unlocking 31.34 million OP on the 30th of June, equivalent to $20.3 million and about 1.83% of the circulating supply. Okay, and just to finish off here, I want to consider linear unlocks, which you can think of as daily unlocks, basically. That's in contrast to all of the examples that we went through in the first part of this video. Those happen most of the time on a monthly basis, and they are scheduled. However, there are also projects that have yearly unlocks, so it's not necessarily monthly, but some yearly ones include Ondo Finance, actually, ONDO. Let's take a look, though, at some of the linear unlocks with a high daily worth. The first one in this category to consider is Solana and the SOL token, SOL. Solana had daily unlocks between the 25th of May and the 1st of June of 66.54 thousand SOL tokens. That's a little bit over $10 million per day at the current price. In total, around $80 million was unlocked. And then not too surprisingly, as we can see here during the last week, we're looking at the last 7 days, the price of SOL, SOL, tanked from about $178, just under $180, to where we are now, just over $153. This may not have only been from the token unlocks, because obviously there are market influences and other variables. We also saw the price of Bitcoin fall, but there you go. Certainly the token unlocks played a role here. WorldCoin is another one here, ticker WLD. They're releasing 5.32 million WLD tokens per day, and that's worth a pretty impressive $6 million per day. And finally, for your consideration here, I want to point out BitTensor, Tau, which is unlocking 7,200 Tau per day, which is worth about $3 million, again, per day. Their vesting ends in December 2023. So just keep in mind that these linear unlocks don't seem as big or kind of as dramatic, I guess, as the Cliff unlocks. But don't forget that they're daily, right? So they almost come at you in camouflage, right? WorldCoin releases, for context, $186 million worth of WLD this month. BitTensor is good for half of that amount, but that's still a lot, around $93 million. So it does add up, even though it's not felt all at the same time.